Welcome to another episode of What Do You Think Spoiler Cast. I'm actually sitting in for Mr. CFG himself, Davis Green. I am the 5-star general of the itty bitty Smitty committee, Smitty 2447, and I am joined by two really good Destiny veterans and friends, Aleezilla and ZukaratheTall. Ali, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Zuzu, looking good as always. How have you been?
I've been playing Destiny, so been pretty good.
Good to hear. Again, if you're watching, if you're listening, feel free to comment if you played through the DLC. Again, I haven't even talked about it. We're going to be talking today about Destiny 2, the final shape, giving you all the details, our feelings. It's going to be more like a conversation or a round table. Friends talking about our experience of the DLC and what Bungie did. So if you have thoughts on it, don't forget, leave a comment. If you're listening, whatever, find us. We're on social media or do it directly on the page, and we appreciate it. I want to jump right in. Obviously, guys, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the launch day server issues. I'm going to start with Zuzu here. I know we were both streaming at the time. I started at like 9:30 in the morning. Little did I know that I wouldn't actually get into the game until like 12:30 p.m. What were your thoughts? What were your feelings, Zuzu?
No surprise. I mean, every single launch except for I want to say like Lightfall, I don't think I had major issues getting in, but it's pretty standard at this point for like a DLC to drop and you're not able to get in for like, you know, anywhere from 30 to half the day. So compared to how it's been, it wasn't as bad as it's been. It's like the final big expansion. So I was just ready for this, and I was not let down.
Yeah, Ali, you were smart. You waited till that evening to get in. What was your experience like?
Once I loaded the game, I was in and I was fine. I did get kicked like twice, but it wasn't nearly as bad as like what I heard how it was. So
yeah, it was absolutely brutal during the day. And again, this launch, and I had a recording at like, I want to say like 2 p.m. So I already had limited time, and I was like, oh, we'll get like 3 or 4 good hours in. I'll have to stop or whatever. That should be plenty of progress. Nah, we sat, we waited, we watched YouTube videos.
Such an
and
optimist.
you're right. Yeah, like thinking back to it now, majority of the launches have had those issues, which again, to me is like, I guess I don't understand why they're not more prepared for it, or is it a strategic move on their part to just kind of limit the amount of people and kind of trickle people in instead of just boom, opening the floodgates and everybody, crashes and has issues?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of letting so many people in so that everything doesn't just go to hell in a handbasket at once. But then they did, of course, have actual issues where they had to do a rolling restart of all their servers this time. So they were clearly not prepared for some aspect of the amount of people. I remember even on Twitch, Aztecross got way more views than he usually does. I can't remember the exact number. I remember we were talking about it though on our streams at the time. And then his interest plummeted because servers weren't handling things well.
yeah, I think if it is a strategic move to just let everybody run it at the same time, I don't think that's a very smart move. I see a lot of people who are like, I'm just not going to play Destiny. This happens every launch and it ruins it for a lot of players. A lot of people take time off work or from school or whatever, and they're like, I'm going to play it. But you miss an entire day of content because you're getting error coded. You're not able to get in. You're having issues. You can't play with your friends. And it makes it frustrating, and it makes you not want to play.
Yeah, I agree. They could handle it. I feel like there's just a different way to be able to handle it without those frustrations. Because you're right. You know, running into that or taking time off or whatever, and then running into something like that half the day and not even getting to play. I mean, that kind of makes you want to punch a pillow at least. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, yeah. But I did feel, though, that relatively when the server started opening up, things started, and I also, even when I was in, I was still getting error codes. I think I got booted maybe once or twice, but it was relatively smooth after that. So at least they were able to get it fixed, figured out, and people were able to start getting in and gaming and start experiencing it. Just switching gears, you know, once we were finally able to get in, I wanted to talk about just that opening cinematic that we had. We got this, what I thought was a beautiful recap of the story up to this point, you know, just in case somebody was new, or just giving us a little reminder of here's what's at stake here. Here's how far we've come. And I'm not going to lie, for me personally, like it really, like, it struck a chord with me emotionally. It just, it's like taking that nostalgia back and being like, golly, man, like 10 years. This is 10 years. What were your guys' feelings on it? How did you feel about it, Allie?
I cried.
Yeah.
I cried. I started playing Destiny my senior year of high school, and I'm still playing it now as like a whole adult. And it's really cool to think about how much we've put into Destiny and getting to kind of recap that, and you're seeing things, you know, and you're like, oh, I remember that, or like this is when that happened, and it's pretty cool to see it come to a conclusion like that and kind of get that recap.
Yeah. What were your thoughts, Zuzu?
I really liked that it started off with like a revisualization of Ghost finding you. That was like the one thing from the opening I specifically remember, because I was like, at first I thought, oh no, my game broke and it thinks I'm a new light. And then I noticed like the differences, and I was like, oh, well, this is really cool. And yeah, it did kind of take me back 10 years thinking when I first watched that scene. So it was really good, man. Bungie really nailed it on the start.
Yeah, and that's something that I feel that they've always really excelled at is just their cinematics. I shouldn't say always, because there was one point in time where it was just Grimoire cards, and that was absolutely horrendous. So when they made that shift over, it really felt like we became more immersed in that universe, in that world, being able to see these characters actually talk, have voices, interact with each other. So I felt like that was just a great start to jumping into this new DLC and giving everybody a little recap. And I'm right there with you. It definitely had me in the feels when we went back to Ghost first resurrecting us. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I was living a whole different life then. A whole different life, you know? Crazy. They did, fantastic job by them. So we get into the essentially the gateway, the path between what our world was and inside of the Traveler in the Pale Heart, just in between area. I felt like this was a good, solid kind of introduction to what we can expect. We got to see some new enemies. We saw prismatic shields that we couldn't do anything with. We got our first chest as well after a couple of challenges and whatnot. What do you guys think in terms of just that kind of introduction mission, I guess, into what we could expect moving forward?
I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. I think it set the tone for the rest of the campaign really well, and teaching you the different little mechanics and bits that you need to be doing. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome.
What about you, Zuzu?
I just really wanted to get to prismatic. I'm not gonna lie. I was enjoying it. It was good. And I'm probably gonna say the same thing throughout every time we talk about any of the levels. Their set pieces are terrific. Skyboxes are wonderful. You know, and the enemy density in this was spot on. But I was just really wanting to get to prismatic, and I kind of distracted myself because of that. Great level, but it doesn't stand out amidst some of the other stuff that comes later on for me. It doesn't help I haven't replayed the campaign yet on any of my alts, which I will be doing soon enough. But yeah, that level, not bad, but I just really wanted that prism.
Yeah, I think you make a great point too, and that's something that Bungie, I feel, has always done a really good job of, is building this world, not only visually, but audibly. Everything just like, it really sucks you in, and their set pieces and their level designs are so, like, I feel like there's so much attention to detail, and it's only increased as we gone. Like, you're looking in the distance and you see a giant ghost, or you see these pillars that maybe you're kind of working your way to. And as you're getting through it, you start seeing this thing, get bigger or whatever. I just always have felt that they've done a really good job with that stuff. This is the first time I feel like in a long time, I think since Forsaken, that we've gotten new enemies. We got the Grim, we got the melee dudes, the subjugators. What were your guys' thoughts? We'll start with Zuzu on these new enemies, their abilities, and just kind of how it changes the dynamic of the game.
The Grim, I haven't had any issues with the Grim, so they don't stand out too much for me. Wasn't using like forbearance or anything where I couldn't hit them. So I was just like, oh, okay, new things to kill. That being said, those new Scions that look like Scions, not the actual subjugators, but the little ones, there's a special place in hell for whoever made those dudes. Especially if you've played the raid.
Why do they hit so hard?
and their little pull effects and their freeze effects, like, oh, that's such a thorn in my side. Great enemy design, but like, ooh. Bungie heard all our complaints about things being stale and things being a little too easy, and they let's just say they addressed a bit of that.
Yeah, they really picked it up. Yeah.
What were your thoughts, Allie?
I think they look really cool, but they're really difficult. At least for me, I don't know if it's my playstyle or what. I do not like them. They kill me all the time, even when I'm not even playing on legendary mode. I had a really hard time with them. But I think they look really cool. And I like that there's a challenge. It's not just easy. It's not just the screebs running at you that you have to worry about and everything else is like easy peasy. I like that you have to like pay attention and focus, and that you do have to try a little bit harder. I don't know. I went through on legendary. Maybe that played a big part on it. And I did most of it solo, but I'm not a huge fan of them because of that.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, too, in the context of the story. Why wouldn't the Witnesses Legion be using these dark elements as well? So it just really brings in a whole different... I'm right there with you guys. They can go to hell and they can die. For all I care, they are absolutely terrible. But it brings such a different dynamic, and like it makes you have to focus on them because they are going to get you. They're going to suck you in. They're going to slow you down, which makes everything else become a problem. So yeah, great design on their part in terms of some of these like more ad characters within the enemy faction. Again, the subjugators they're bigger. They're not quite tormentors. They're like, I feel like they're like kind of middle grade, but again, they also utilize strand. They utilize stasis as well. So it just kind of brings a different dynamic and fits within the context of the story of the Witness and what the Witnesses, I guess, army would be utilizing, the tools they'll be utilizing out of the space. So I don't want to wait any longer, though. Obviously, one of the biggest changes, something new here, was the prismatic subclass. We got our 6th subclass. Please, Allie, what were your thoughts getting into it, how it was presented to us and given to us, and just your overall thoughts of how it plays.
So when I first heard about it, I was so excited. I was like, this sounds lit. I like the sound of this. I like everything that they're saying. And then when we get into the game and they're introducing it to you, I was like, okay, I mean, like, this is kind of cool. I had a hard time grasping it at first because I went through half of the mission with Prismatic on my PC, and then I switched to PS5 the next day. And so it kind of messed with me because it wasn't fresh. But once I got used to Prismatic, I'm going to be honest, I don't really like it. It's definitely not my main thing to use. I don't feel super comfortable with it because it's not as customizable as I was hoping it would have been, since like you only have like one grenade from each subclass and whatnot, and I don't know. It's just not my preferred way to play still.
Out of curiosity, what class were you?
I'm a hunter. I like to run stasis for the most part.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah, I'm a warlock, so I loved Prismatic, especially when I figured out Bleak Watcher with Getaway Artist. That was a game changer for me.
I haven't tried it on Warlock or Titan yet. I do have those characters, but I don't get too much time to play during the week, and so I just haven't tried it yet. So maybe it'll be better on not a hunter, but on the hunter, it's not my go-to.
It's interesting you don't like it on Hunter because I've heard the main issues with Prismatic are in Titan.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I've been hearing there's some Titan discourse with Prismatic. I personally haven't messed with the kit at all for Titan or Hunter. And I'm going to be honest, the next one I'm going for is Hunter because they let you be the fourth Hokage, and that's freaking awesome. I'm very jealous over the new Hunter Super in Prismatic, man. Throwing a knife and teleporting to it. All my Weebly Naruto dreams are coming true. But yeah, no, I'm Warlock. I love it. And then I'm a big fan of Outbreak Perfected and the whole synergy with Prismatic with kinetic weapons. Just could not have been at a better time for me to continue using my freshly buffed gun. So yeah, for me, I loved Prismatic pretty quickly, and then even more so once I finished the campaign and gathered up all the fragments, and overall way better implementation compared to like Stasis or Strand. I did not like having to go through that for all the aspects and the fragments, and then how they were tied into the campaign at the time was very frustrating in their own unique ways. So Prismatic for me, step above all those. I loved it. Give me more.
Interesting. For me, and I'm a Warlock main as well, I'm in the boat of Allie. It feels underwhelming to me. And maybe I'm just not using it correctly. I mean, I find myself a lot of times not even hitting the button. I forget about Prismatic. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this other thing I can use. Let me pop it out real quick. And maybe it's because of that, or maybe I'm not. And I don't think I have all the aspects for it as well. Don't get me wrong. I love being able to use Bleak Watchers and the Getaway Artists. Like running it solo, it was like having two other Guardians with me, the whole time. It was fantastic. It made it a lot easier running it solo, or in some parts, the parts that I ran solo like that. But yeah, I don't know. It feels underwhelming to me. I haven't even started out with my Hunter or my Titan, so I haven't tried it on any other class other than the Warlock. I've just found myself forgetting that Prismatic is an option. It just feels weird. Or sometimes I'll accidentally pop it when I'm trying to pop my super. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, and again, I play on PC, but I play on using a PS5 controller. So I started Destiny on PlayStation. It feels right to me playing keyboard and mouse for it. I just never got around to it. I do have a question, Allie, for you. You said that you started on PC and switched over to your PS5. Did you have to buy the DLC twice? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I actually When
Don't like
the
that.
final shape was announced like a year and a half ago, I had pre-ordered the collector's edition, like the big one with like the tower replica and stuff.
Yeah.
And somebody's opinion persuaded me to cancel it. Big regret, by the way, but whatever. I canceled it, but they had already given me the game code. So I got a refund, the full refund, but I still had the game on PS5. And so then I bought it on PC. So technically I only paid for it once, but like I should have paid for it twice. But unfortunately, you do have to pay for the DLC separately, but the seasonal stuff is not separate. It's really weird.
I hate that. I hate it. It's the
weird.
dumbest thing. That's why I don't play on PS5 or on PlayStation anymore, because it's like I'm only gonna buy the DLC on one or the other, and I play way more on my PC than I would on PlayStation. So it annoys me that like now I feel like I can't play on PlayStation at all, even though there's cross save because I only have the DLC on PC. I wish they would do something about that. So dumb.
They wouldn't make any money then. You know?
money. Delicious bags of money. My best
Switching
Pete Parsons
gears.
impression.
Let me know what was your thoughts. We got 3 new supers. Each class got a new super. Obviously, Song of Flame. I've been using that with Warlock. There was, is it not Storm Trance? I can't remember the name of the Hunter one. And then the Titan, which is it's an arc one, and then the Titan one is a void one. What were your guys' thoughts, or if you've seen videos of it or seen other people in action with those? What were your guys' thoughts on these new supers, and how do you like them?
I don't like Song of Flame. I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. It's not my play style. But again, I'm just super jealous of Hunters and their new 4th Hokage PvP build. I can't wait to run it.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I really struggled with like arc supers before, and when I tried out this new one, I was like, I might have to become an arc main because I am a stasis main, but I was like, I kind of like this, and I definitely, it's a lot of fun. I have a blast just running around. It's great.
Let me ask, Allie, do you just do PvE, or do you do some PvP stuff as well? I
do mainly PvE, and I tend to focus on more like in-game content. My friends and I try to raid at least once a week. I've been farming dual Destiny. I've done like 20 runs of that so far. Different things like that. I don't do a lot of dungeons, but I'd like to. But I do dabble in PvP a little bit too. But I really do PvP to get the bounties done, and then I don't touch it.
Yeah.
But I will say they have doubles clash now, and I have been playing the heck out of that because I love doubles. So.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, I haven't really done a lot of that. I haven't even gone into PvP since they introduced the new maps in there. I just have not had it in me to be able to do it. But I would say with the release of the final shape, it has definitely gotten me back in that like kind of Destiny. I'm not grinding super hard like I used to, but definitely been picking it up and playing it more, going through the things and stuff like that. With it's crazy. I think Zuzu and I are going to be disagreeing all day because I love Song of Flame. I think it's awesome. It's got the snap of the fingers, but like instead of it being 5 fireballs, it's like 10. Fingers. Yes, you do. It's good. It's got
no, I don't,
man.
We've had the snap for a few years.
we have. But I like the little the bird, the seeking bird that comes out. I think it's cool, and a little kiss.
Feels
and then
like you're Joe from Arrested Development.
But I like too how it also buffs other people, within a proximity of you, and allows them to get. I think it gives them. What am I thinking of? It gives their weapons, not incandescent, but
radiant.
Radiant. Thank you. So again, it feels like a solid kind of support build, along with being able to be offensive with it as well. And that is kind of my play styles, going in like an idiot and doing dumb things and throwing fireballs everywhere. So
Yeah, see, I usually throw Slova Bomb or Needle Storm on now because I like to go in and wipe the room very quickly.
Yeah. And again, I think the Arc super is going to be ridiculous in PvP. That is going to be super annoying. And I mean, the other one too, the Titan super does a ton of damage. Not only that, but then it leaves behind 3 relics as well that either you yourself or your teammates can go and pick up and then use that too. So absolutely devastating.
Yeah, our Titans were putting in work on day 1 raid against that Tormentor in that first encounter. They kept just demolishing it with that super. It was glorious.
Yeah, I'm excited to try the other classes and just see, how I feel about them and stuff like that. And, staying on the subject too of the new weapons. I haven't gotten my hands at a lot of them. I don't have Microcosm, Kvistov? Yeah, I haven't gotten that. I love the call, the rocket sidearm. Now, hold on. Let me ask you guys. This is not the first rocket sidearm?
I think isn't it like the second one?
Yep, Indebted Kindness from the Warlords Ruin dungeon last season gives you an arc sidearm. I never did that. Well, let's go do it, bro. It
we started to, and then I think we ran out of time or something, and we just never got around to getting back to it. I had no idea. I thought that was the first time that there was a rocket sidearm. I'm not a sidearm player, and I absolutely love it. It puts in work. And mine has slicing and hatchling on it as well. Yeah. So it does some work, using strand and all that good stuff. But I want to know your guys' thoughts. Have you guys had a chance to get a hold of these other guns? What were your thoughts on it? What do you like about them? What do you not like about them?
I've gotten my hands on a few of like the legendaries, and I don't like any of them. So
That's how I feel about Tessellation. I kind of feel like Tessellation. I mean, it's got the cool gimmick of like whatever subclass you are, that's what it fires, which is cool. It could be useful for taking down certain shields and stuff like that. But like overall, it just kind of feels underwhelming.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super excited about any of them. Like I don't like the call. I tried it a couple times and I was like, but I don't like sidearms. Very anti-sidearm. Okay. I have a lot of PTSD from the last year in Destiny 1 when it was sidearms and 1,000-yard stare. That meta. So I don't know if that's, but also like the new scout rifle. I don't remember what it's called, but I kind of like it. Yeah. Okay. I don't remember what it's called, but I kind of like it, but I kind of don't. But I don't know. I played a lot of Onslaught, and a lot of the weapons that they released for Onslaught, I was a big fan of, and I'm really picky. So maybe they released those weapons and it just ruined the Final Shape weapons for me. I don't know, but
they really did put out some great weapons in Onslaught. Like that's hard to overshadow. It's hard to
top it, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but the sniper rifle that has the golden gun, that's pretty freaking sweet. And I'm not really a sniper rifle.
Still Hunt.
Still Hunt, yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, that gun is ridiculous, man. And it is also very clutch in the raid, apparently. Obviously that's the standout. Kvistov is pretty cool with its ricochet rounds. Also, the legendary version of it has been pretty handy when I'm running Still Hunt. So the call, I haven't used it too much. I have a God Roll crafted one too. Like it was the first one I got enough to craft. But I usually run another kinetic, and then I have my Indebted Kindness for rocket sidearm. So I'll have to try and run it on a better strand build. But yeah, I mean, other than the golden gun, Ergo Sum, the new sword, that's the other one.
Yeah, that's nice. That's pretty dope.
with those galley rounds on it.
Yes.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
And then I haven't tried it, but I've heard good things about the auto rifle from the Pale Heart. It's the one that can heal people.
The healing one?
I like that one.
Yeah. I messed around with it a little bit too.
I need to get around to that. Now for the bad, because I do have one angry thing to say. I'm not happy with Tessellation and how the catalyst is locked behind getting the annual pass.
That is crazy.
So that gun went straight to my vault. I refuse to even touch it. That's stupid.
So
that's my take.
Wait, so they've locked the catalyst for that gun behind the
annual
was it for
pass.
the season? Oh, the annual pass?
You get the annual pass, you get the catalyst.
Oh,
I didn't do that.
Gosh. So what do they plan on doing? That's unfair, I feel.
I assume it's a time gate thing that it'll eventually come out at some point this year for anyone that didn't get the annual pass. Kind of like how you got Tessellation if you pre-ordered it before the final shape, but then when the final shape came out, now I have it. I didn't pre-order the final shape either. I bought it day one. Because Lightfall was poopy. But yeah, so that's my one little irritation right now is that they locked a catalyst behind the annual pass, and there's more to elaborate on that with the whole battle pass when we get to that part of the conversation.
Yeah. What was the other gun that they brought back too?
Red Death.
Red Death. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm not happy about.
Yeah, because I remember Red Death was from Destiny 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Originally, yeah. And it was solid. I remember using Red Death like in PvP and stuff like that, and just because it has a healing factor to it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel. I tried using it, and
I haven't tried it. I didn't know that it wasn't feeling good. I'm surprised.
It didn't. I mean, it didn't feel good to me, like using it. And maybe it was just the instance that we were doing. Because again, we were doing it on legendary. Things were higher level and stuff like that. But like, I didn't feel the benefit of using it, so it's been sitting in my vault since basically that first day.
I have to respectfully disagree with you. The Red Death saved my butt in the legendary campaign.
Really?
So Smitty just doesn't know how to use it.
I mean, no comment on that one. But...
Sorry. I'm
Clearly.
sorry.
User error. That is user error. Maybe I'll have to pull it back out then and give it a go. I don't know, because I remember I was just like, this ain't it. And I ended up switching out for it.
I really liked it when I ran it solo, but when I ran it with my friends, I was like, okay, like it's not that big of a deal. But when I was doing the solo legendary campaign, it saved my butt. So also, I like the way I didn't like Red Death in D1, but I like Red Death in D2. I like the way it feels.
Okay. Hey,
is it
fair
still a
enough.
pulse or is it an auto rifle now?
It's still a pulse.
Okay. I couldn't remember if they changed more on it because I know it used to not be solar and now it is. Confused me. I'm scared of change.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird about pulse rifles too, outside of PvP. I like using pulse rifles in PvP. I do not like using pulse rifles in PvE.
Sir, you got to go put on a Graviton Lance and go burr.
Yeah.
I don't think I have Graviton Lance.
That's a D1 year one weapon. What do you mean?
I don't think I
have
have that,
Lance?
dude. I don't remember. I gotta look. Maybe it's sitting in my thing and I just haven't touched it. That's a possibility.
Pull it from your collections. I'd be shocked if you don't have it. Like genuinely shocked. Or you need to start talking to Zur every week. Either way, get your hands on it. Go into PvP. It's ridiculous right now. Or not PvP, PvE.
That's a void, right? That's a void pulse.
Yeah, do a whole void build so you can, taste that sweet purple, and it's insane. Graviton Lance is crazy right now.
All right. Clearly, clearly I'm missing out on some things that I have not that I need to get
You don't know
my
what you're
head
talking
wrapped
about.
around. I know. I'm gonna go ahead and shut the hell up now. No. Switching over, once we got through that stuff, we got into the Pale Heart. It kind of opened up and showed us and gave us a preview of, not a preview, but like a lay of the land of what the Pale Heart actually looked like. And then we also saw the Overthrow public event stuff. Allie, getting in, what were your first and initial thoughts on the Pale Heart, the new public event, all that stuff?
Well, first and foremost, I thought it was beautiful. I know we talked about like the how everything looks and stuff earlier, and big fan. It's beautiful. I just want to sit in there and just like take screenshots of everything. It's great. Overall, though, the Pale Heart, I mean, it's pretty cool, but I don't like that it's not like there's like it's only people in your fire team that's there. I don't personally like that, but that's because I don't know what it is about public events, but I suck at them. Like I can raid and do dungeons and stuff, but like don't ask me to do a solo public event because it's not happening. And so I haven't done a lot of the Overthrow because I have to be like, hey, does somebody want to play with me and get them in? But I mean, overall, when I was playing with my friends, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. You know, there's a lot of stuff to do on the Pale Heart that isn't like in your face, which I like. It's not like, hey, you should do this. It's like you're like, oh, let me just like go down this cavern, and then like you just find a thing and you're like, whoa. And I really enjoy that. I like to explore maps, I like to break maps, and I like to experience what they have hidden versus them just like throwing in your face like, hey, go here and do this kind of thing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have thoughts on this season.
Oh, I do. How dare Bungie give us Onslaught and then Overthrow? My smooth brain cannot handle two big playlist type things, both starting with the same letter for some reason, because I kept calling it Onslaught for like a week straight and it just couldn't stick in my brain.
That's fair.
Now for my actual takes, I loved Overthrow. See, I'm still struggling. I loved Overthrow. Unlike most public events, where, you know, if you don't have a team, like some of those can get very rough. This one has like no timer, so I can just dilly-dally as long as I want, and then I will inevitably get level 4 done. And I love that about this. So it makes the experience when you're doing it solo a little easier to deal with, because you're not under the gun like, okay, I have 5 minutes to get this done and get it heroic and kill the boss and all on my own, and
the stress
all just blew up in my face again. Damn it. So that stress was out the window. It made it a lot easier for me to just burn through. So yeah, I loved Overthrow. And then yeah, Pale Heart is a destination. While I enjoy it, and maybe this is a small nitpick actually, but it bugs me. I don't like pulling up the Pale Heart with my map, like as a map. I don't like it because you have to like scroll all the way to the right or all the way to the left. It just bugs me. That's a really small gripe in the grand scheme of things. But every time I open that map to like travel to a different part of the location, I just feel irritated by the map. So, do we also want to include the journey or whatever, that new Pathfinder? Do we
I was
want to do
actually
that in this conversation?
Yeah, we could talk. Yeah, because that's the first time we actually see the Pathfinder is when we open up the Pale Heart like that.
Yeah, Pathfinder and the Pale Heart, I'm okay with. Pathfinder in the playlist activities, get it out, or make it specific to that playlist. I do not like going through in strikes and then being told, like at the very last 3 nodes, they're all Gambit related, and I'm about to throw my PC out a window because I had to go through the dredge and grind before they took away the 3 reset thing. I've had enough Gambit in my life, especially when they don't do much with the mode. I don't like that. That's my one thing. Cool concept, but bad execution.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Allie. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I really like Pathfinder and the Pale Heart. I think it would be a really cool concept if they do like weekly, like they choose a planet or like a destination, have like a Pathfinder there specifically. But yeah, I don't like it in the playlist either because I'm the same. I'm pro Gambit. I like Gambit. I'll play Gambit any day. I'm not a big fan of strikes and Crucible, but I'll play them. But I don't like
Mm.
getting down an entire thing and then being like, hey, you have to go PvP and you have to get 7 kills with your solar grenade. And like, I don't want to go into Crucible with my solar subclass. Like, I don't want to do that. So I don't like that they like kind of gatekeep it like that.
I agree. The Pale Heart one is good. I enjoy that a lot, and just kind of how it's broken out, and especially with the combination of overthrow, you're going to knock that stuff out pretty quickly. Not a fan of them forcing people to have to do certain modes, especially if it's something that you don't enjoy, but to then gatekeep, the reward behind you having to do an activity that you don't enjoy. You're creating a bad experience. I think that's a good suggestion, Zuzu, having it broken out into, Vanguard playlist, Crucible playlist, and Gambit playlist, I think is fine. I'm not, and again, I'm not completely against Gambit myself. I don't play a lot of it personally, but I can go either way on it. I wish they would do more with the mode, actually. I feel like it's kind of the, just kind of turned into the thing in the background that people are just like, oh, Gambit. Yeah, we don't talk about Gambit.
I feel like that's most of our issues is that it's been the same since Forsaken, like right. Outside of like they brought Gambit Prime and then took it back away.
Took it away from us.
Yeah. And like, I know like this year they technically added back in the old Prime maps that they took out. Like the maps are back. So like now we got that, which we've already played. And then they put in the Lucent Hive, which is cool, I guess. But overall, the mode is exactly the same as it has been for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's pretty stale.
Like, if they did more with it, I'd feel a little better about it. But I don't like being forced to play something that they don't pay attention to as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel the same way too about PvP. I know they added the new maps, but like other than that, there hasn't really been a ton of, I guess, reasons to go and play it, unless that's like kind of your main jam. And I'm more, in the boat of playing PvE, and then when it comes to PvP, it's like, unless I'm playing with friends or there's certain things, and I don't even play like Iron Banner anymore. I got the title. I'm cool. I don't have to suffer through that ever again. You know what I mean? Like, and it's been less of a suffer, I feel like, as of late, and they definitely kind of switched things up a little bit, but it got grindy and stale pretty quickly. So I agree with you guys in terms of that. And not only that, but just the map layout. Because it does annoy me too, having to do all that scrolling on the location. It's like, come on, man, just make the map a little smaller and
or give a zoom out option.
Yeah, something to where, because like the scroll's not even fast. It's a slow scroll.
Yeah,
yeah. You want to go to do the raid, you got to go all the way to the right, all the way.
Who did that? Who designed that? That ain't it. I can tell you that right now. Speaking of the raid, obviously this I think is probably definitively the hardest raid in this Destiny history. Zuzu and I, we got the group together. We took we tried. We at least got past the first freaking encounter after like 10 hours. But that raid race and it was clocked in, I believe it was 18 hours, 51 minutes, making it the longest raid also in Destiny history. We saw streamers, we were watching people, and even the watching got a little stale, at least for those that were in front, which it makes sense, but they were blacking out their screen so nobody can go stream snipe, figure out mechanics that they didn't know, and then catch up. Let me know if you just viewed it, if you played it, whatever. What were your guys' thoughts on Salvation's Edge overall?
I personally love it, but I like mechanically dense raids, and it is mechanically dense. This is definitely not like a raid you want to start off with. Like if you've never raided, go do other raids, then do this. I say that because in LFG, on the Destiny LFG. Man, a lot of first timers, first time raider want to try the new one. I was like, oh no, that's a bad idea. Don't do
Just
that.
wasting my time.
Like, yeah, that's you're gonna get frustrated. They're gonna no, don't do that. Go get some other experience. So I love it for its difficulty. I think it's a good cap on the light and darkness saga as far as the raids go. It's definitely in my top 3 raids. Don't ask me definitively which one yet. I'm still sussing that out, but it's in my top 3 for sure.
What are the other 2?
Definitely Wrath of the Machine, and then probably Oryx.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
Respect
Riven's
it.
great too, though.
Yeah.
Shoot. Okay, top 4.
What about you, Allie? I know you haven't had a chance to get into it, but you've seen some videos.
Yeah, I watched day 1. I watched Dado play it.
Nice.
And it looked pretty scary, not gonna lie. I was like, this is a lot. I watched his raid guide on YouTube, and I was like, what? Like, this is nuts. I think it's great. I am super excited to give the raid a shot whenever the rest of my clan is ready to do so. But it looks really scary. It looks intimidating, but like in a fun way, you know, like I'm intimidated, but like,
Yeah.
I want to beat it. Like I have this like fire in my heart, and I'm like, I gotta do it. Like I gotta prove it to myself. I gotta prove it to everybody I've ever played Destiny with who's told me I am crap. I gotta do it. Like, so
Oh, there they.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's really cool. I like that it's really like he said, it's very mechanic heavy. I like that there's not really a okay, well, like you could just go ad clear and like we'll just take you through the raid. I'm like a big fan of that. I like that people get to participate in everything, and everybody has to have a job, from what I've seen at least. And I think it was really cool. I did also think it was awesome that it is the longest raid yet. I think it's rad because I remember people talking about it, and they were like not excited for it because they were like, oh, Final Shape's gonna bomb because you know what happened with Lightfall. And so when watching it, everybody was like, oh my god, like this is nuts, it's still going on, they're gonna beat Last Wish. And like it was really cool to be a part of watching that, and like watching the community just lose it over how difficult this raid is. It was really frustrating when they started turning their screens off. I got really mad. I was like, this isn't cool. I was like, I get why you're doing it, but like, come on. Please.
It did kind of feel like it ruined the spirit of it a little.
Yeah.
Understandably, like where they're coming from, the competition's fierce, they want to be first.
Yeah.
But like,
it was frustrating, but
why
when
stream
you
in
think
the first
about
place?
the people who won Worlds First, they weren't streaming, and I
They
think
didn't
that's
even
really
stream.
cool. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like, listen, as a streamer myself, I'm like, we got to stick with the streamers. But on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, screw the streamers. Like, you guys not being fair at all. So.
I just got to ask, who were we all rooting for? Because I was rooting for Dado. He needed a belt. I'm sad he didn't. But
I was watching Dado.
Yeah. No, I wanted to see Dado get that belt. And, you know, sad that, you know, it didn't happen. But again, it was just the spirit of the community coming together, being able to watch this, celebrate this victory, all that stuff. This, I mean, to me, I think this is, you know, Allie, you made a great point. This is not a raid that you can just sit back and be an ad clear person. At some point in time, you're going to have to get involved. I'm a person that I don't know what it is, but I don't want to get yelled at by people, especially strangers. So like the pressure is on when you have to do this, and you're the one that's screwing up a mechanic. I like literally in my head, like that's when invasive thoughts start winning. I'm like, everybody hates me.
I'm never gonna play Destiny again. Like I'm uninstalling this.
I'm doing a terrible job. People hate me. This is terrible. You know, I'm gonna bow out, y'all. It forces you to learn and be a part of it. So instead of it gets me the feel of I'm not just a bystander going pew pew pew. I also help and learn these mechanics to help be able to accomplish this goal as a team. I thought they did a great job of really encompassing this is a full team event. All hands on deck. Everybody needs to know how to do things.
Big fan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good.
no, they did fantastic. Obviously, once the raid was beat, that opened up the last mission excision. I don't want to. I know, Allie, you talked about the fact that you have not had a chance to do it yet.
I have done it. I'm sorry.
Oh, you have done
I
it.
So I
misspoke,
was
yeah.
like,
Oh,
what?
okay.
This is the worst
Okay.
place for you to be on a spoiler cast. No.
Okay, good. I was gonna try to be like, how do we go about this? Good, great. Number one, another first 12-player match made event. Dude, it was amazing. It literally, the cutscene to get to it and do it. And I will have to say, this is one of those moments. I thought Keith David did a fantastic job voicing Zavala, but that was one of those moments. I can't lie. I was sitting there and imagining Lance Reddick's voice and how it would have come off as him. And I was like, we missed such a moment there. With this passing. So
that made me tear up because I thought the same, man. Like I was watching that and I was like, he was so close.
I know.
Dude. That was one of the few times I teared up in this game. Just thinking of that at the end, I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. Again, so many emotions, being able to have this epic moment where everybody, I'm thinking too, this gave everybody that played the opportunity to go face to face against the witness to finally put them to rest. I thought, what a brilliant way to end off the Light and Dark saga. Please, what were your guys' thoughts, your feelings, the overall smashing that fool up?
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was really cool. I really liked that they didn't block it. Like if you didn't do the raid, you didn't get to watch the last cutscene. I was thankful that they did that they unlocked it for everybody at that time. I really enjoy the different mechanics and how it is like a 12 player. I think it's awesome. It's really laggy, but it's awesome. And
was yours laggy?
Yeah, mine was really laggy. It was pretty gnarly.
Mine too.
But I mean, at the end of the day, though, it was really cool. It felt like I was important, right? Like it made me feel like I was actually a part of the story. Where like sometimes when you're, or at least I don't know about you guys, but at least me, when I play the Destiny story, I feel like I'm just like looking from the outside in, like I'm watching almost like a movie, and I'm like not really a part of it. And like certain like parts of the story, like through the last 10 years, has really like sucked me in, and I'm like, this is it. Like I am the Guardian. But like this last activity really made me feel like this is me. Like I am doing this, and I thought it was really cool that they managed to like pull you in like that and make you feel important, even though not everybody can raid or not everybody chooses to raid. I was reading a statistic that like 90% of Destiny players have never done a raid before, and I thought that was nuts.
What?
Yeah. So
90%?
I'm surprised it's that low.
It may have been a little higher.
There was a time where it was like 2% of the Destiny population have raided.
Yeah.
Like a few years ago. I want to say like Shadowkeep Witch Queen era. It was like 2%.
And honestly, it may be a little higher. It's probably closer to like 95, 97. I just saying 90 just to make sure I don't mess it up. But like, when I learned that statistic, I thought that was nuts. And so I'm really glad that they didn't like lock that cutscene behind doing the actual raid.
Yeah.
I liked the cutscenes and some of the mission. It was buggy for me, which didn't help. And I guess I just expected a few more mechanics to come out, but then again, it's like I understand because you're getting 12 people together, and having played 6v6s in Crucible, that's never a good thing. So I see why they simplified it to keep it so that you can actually complete it, even if your teammates are off trying to shake hands with the Tormentor again, which definitely happened. That being said, I do like the Grandmaster version. Really ratcheted up the difficulty. Like,
did you do it? You did Grandmaster?
I mean, we attempted. It was during my son's nap, and I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And then like we wiped once, and then like half the team left. And I was like, all right, well, yeah, I'll do this later.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, the Grandmaster version is definitely got the difficulty I was kind of like hoping that Final Confrontation might have. But yeah, the meat of that is all in the beginning and ending cutscenes, especially the ending cutscenes after you get to do a family Kamehameha wave with 11 other people and their ghosts, which was great. And then, yeah, just that cutscene was, oh gosh, that was a gut punch. I'm sure we all saw it
like
coming
a baby.
to some degree.
I bawled like a baby. I'm so glad I wasn't streaming or anything. I was ugly crying.
I was streaming it, and they were laughing at me for crying, so that's fair.
Well, they would be too if they were playing it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was just such a heartfelt moment. It really felt like a cap to everything we've done over the last 10 years, and everybody got to experience it. I'm glad they have 2 difficulties because, you know, they put out the difficulty that everybody would be able to get through. It was more of a here's this so you can finish off the story and get some sort of conclusion. It was, to me, it was chef's kiss. I felt they knocked that out of the park in terms of how they do that. We knew something was going to come after the raid. We didn't know what it was going to be. So to have something new like that and something to be able to experience with so many other people, whether it's with friends that you knew or just complete strangers, it really, I felt, brought the community in that feeling like we are the Guardian. I felt like I was that son bitch, you know, when we were sitting there going, blah! So fantastic job by them.
Also, big shout out to that scene after it all happens and you get your final cutscene and words with Crow and his terrible new haircut. And
I liked his new haircut.
I wasn't a big fan. I was like, that ain't it, man. I can't take you serious as Vanguard. You got Ikora, you got Zavala. Shave your head, Crow. Match. Okay. But I loved the screen that they give you of your Guardian sitting on top of the helm overlooking the Traveler at the end. I let that sit for about half an hour on my screen, just kind of admiring it. I recorded a loop of it and threw it on my stream for like my starting and be right back screens, just because it was such a cool little, just kind of small moment at the end, kind of like with, you know, your Guardian, or if you did it with the team. My understanding is it shows your team as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just it was wonderful, man. I loved it. Like, terrific ending. Just so good.
It was. I saw Allie. I think I saw your picture on social, and I saw that there was 2 of you that did it. What was your experience like?
It was awesome. So I ran that mission with I started streaming in year 2 of Destiny 1, about probably like 2 or 3 months before Rise of Iron dropped. So I started streaming then, and my first ever viewer, his name is Rob. He came and joined my stream from Destiny, and I got to finish off the saga with Rob, and I thought that was really cool. So that picture is Rob and I up there, and I don't know, awesome. Like I thought that was really cool. That's something that's like really special to me because, you know, it's a big deal. It's a big part of my life, and it was really cool that I got to finish it out with him, and I like that it showed both of us together and not just like separate.
Yeah, that is awesome. Because I did it. I was solo when I did it, so on that screen it was just me. But what a moment! What a cherry on top to conclude. I mean, again, after the final shape was delayed from February to June, I was feeling hella nervous about it. I was like, oh, Lord, again, this came after Lightfall. So I was like, man, Lightfall was, you guys got to knock this out the park because that was whack. And they did that and some. They understood the assignment and they delivered, I felt, over the top with what they did. So clearly, I think it benefited them taking that delay and really doing some unique and special things to cap off the Light and Dark saga. Go ahead.
Did you see the leaked cutscene?
No.
So there was a cutscene, I guess, that leaked from an earlier cut of the final shape before the delay, where Cade is not involved in the resurrection of our ghost. So that seems to have come about from the delay directly, from my understanding.
Interesting.
In that cutscene, it's just you that does it with light and dark, like a balance of it. And which is like, okay, that's cool. And I get like where they were going with it, you know, especially with Prismatic, the perfect balance of light and dark. But it would have lacked that emotional punch. So I'm really happy that they went the emotional route. That, and it just kind of feels better because then, you know, if you can now suddenly resurrect Ghost, then why don't we resurrect Cade's ghost and Zavala's ghost and like anyone
a lot of plot holes.
Yeah, we would have been the MacGuffin to be used forward forever. So for a few reasons, I'm glad they went away from that. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up that, yeah, the delay definitely helped this ending land.
Yeah, I feel like that really gave purpose to what Cade was doing there. And, you know, the whole context to him being back and what he was doing, he really got to have that, instead of that, the death by Aldrin sitting down, beat up this Cade that we didn't, you know, just wasn't the Cade that we've come to love and know. Getting to see Cade go out the way and do the things that he did, it really did give that emotional meaning to what, and the importance of Cade and Cade actually being brought back and how it kind of tied things up within the bigger picture of things. So yeah, huge choices, great choices. Again, Allie, what were your thoughts overall on the DLC?
Big fan. I love it. I think it's great. I haven't felt as much like invested in the story of Destiny since Destiny 1. Destiny 2 just for a really long time just didn't do it for me because it was so different. And I feel like when I had a really hard time following the story for a long time, and I like that this one, kind of like I was saying about the final mission, I really felt like I was a part of it. I felt very immersed. That's the word. I felt very immersed into the game world. And I was like, I'm a Guardian and I'm doing this. And I really like everything that they've added. I'm a big fan of everything. And I'm excited that I get to, or I guess I got to be around to experience this from the beta to now and seeing how much it's changed in like the full circle. But overall, it's got probably like a 9.5 out of 10 for me. It's borderline perfect. It's the funnest I've had in Destiny in a really long time. So
good. Zuzu?
This DLC makes me think that if you've ever enjoyed Destiny and its life cycle for more than like a year, I think you should definitely give this one a shot. It's a terrific end to the journey. I have, of course, small nitpicks, like wish we got a little bit more of the Witness messing around with us, or, you know, that's just like my one tiny gripe for the story of the final shape. But yeah, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10 for this one. Great gameplay. It's not super grindy as far as just the expansion goes. And yeah, they knocked it out of the park with the campaign, with the raid, with the post-campaign stuff. It's terrific.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys on it. I thought they did exactly what they needed to do. This is probably my favorite DLC of the lot, just because it flows so much more seamless to me than past ones that have felt a little disjointed at times. So this just, I mean, yeah, this was just such a, they just ended it with such a bang, and you could tell the love and just the appreciation that they wanted to be able to give as well to the fan base and the community. I think it was really felt, and they did a fantastic job. Obviously, after the DLC, they've switched now from seasons to episodes. I just want to quickly get your guys' thoughts. I'm going to start with Zuzu here because I know he's all fired up about this. Episodes. Echo is first season or first episode. I'm sorry, I'm already messing it up. What are your thoughts?
It's just a season. I don't know why. Like when I heard episode 1, and then we'll get episode 2 and episode 3. I didn't think it would be as time gated and rinse and repeat as the seasons have been historically. The seasons for me are I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out on seasons. I'd be fine if they stopped with seasons and if these episodes were just like boom, content drop, just play it, go away, come back for the next one. On top of being like time gated with the story, they have also time gated portions of the battle pass. They've added another 100 levels, but they've time gated the catalyst for Red Death behind that. So you have to wait till Act 2 or Act 3, whenever those happen. I'm just tired. I'm tired of the seasons, especially when, and who knows, it's hard to say because we're 2 weeks into this season. So not much has happened.
Right.
So maybe by the end, this season will be terrific, or episode will be so wondrous and worthwhile and blah, blah, blah. But right now, I'm not loving it. It's a sour note following such a wonderful moment with Final Shape to now get this and being like, okay, here's a little bit. Now you get to wait a week, and then we'll give you a little bit more, and then you can wait another week. Just a little bit more.
It's like a crumb.
Yeah. It's just these little crumbs, and eventually it'll turn into a full meal, but over the course of like 3 to 5 months. I don't love this. I don't like feeling like I have to be obligated to show back week after week to make sure I'm getting my money's worth on the battle pass, which is always a thing. Like, what happened to the days when Destiny was trying to get rid of FOMO? It never happened.
Right.
So yeah, seasonal stuff, episodic stuff, however they want to rebrand it. I'd rather they just not.
What about you, Allie?
I'm kind of in the same boat. Honestly, when last week I was talking to my friends and I was like, do I just not understand episodes, or does it feel like borderline the exact same way? And I'm happy to hear that everybody feels the same, that maybe not most people feel the same that I do. It really doesn't feel any different. It just feels even like maybe like a little bit of a longer season. I do like that they do have more rewards on the season pass. So like they go up to like 200 now instead of just 100. So I like that because it gives you more reason to continue playing at the end of the episode season or whatever. But as of right now, it's just kind of like, all right, like I finished the weekly stuff. Like, what do I do now? Like what? I don't know. I'm also just not a big fan of the seasonal stuff. I really liked in Destiny 1 and before the seasons, I liked how grindy it was just in general without having the season pass. And like they just like he was saying, you have the content drop and then you come back to it. I enjoy that because you have that content drop and you've got the heaviness, and then you go through with it and then you can take a break. But like it does feel like I have to play every week. I have to log in every week or else I'm going to miss some stuff. I did miss a couple of seasons in the past, and when I was going through the campaign, I was like, I didn't know that. And my friend's like, there was a whole season dedicated to that. I was like, so like it's that kind of stuff. Like I don't like that when the season is gone, it's also gone. That's a whole nother thing. I'm sorry, but I don't. There's not really anything different. It's really disappointing because the way that they talked it up, they were like, it's gonna be fresh and new, and you go into it and you're like, this is the same exact thing. It's just called something else, and now like I don't know. But then you're kind of like, well, this is just it's just Bungo. Like, it's just what they do.
So happy I didn't buy the annual pass.
That was my sentiment exactly, though, was this is the same as before. How disappointing. Like, I really thought it could have been an opportunity for them to get away from that and try out something new. And that's kind of how they framed it. And then they were like, here you go, same thing, but it's now called episodes. And it's like, yo, I'm not a dummy. Like, this is the same thing. Like, why do I have to I don't want to have to keep coming back to get, you know, a little bits of crumb of story. Just give me the story. Let me run the story. You know, that's what really interests me, is what happens now that the witness has been defeated. You know, and we've gotten little bits here and there. I'm also a Bife watcher, so, you know, or Eve's, and they go over lore stuff and whatnot. But like, it was just really disappointing that they literally took the same approach as Seasons and just renamed it. I was like, I felt like that was a great opportunity to do something new, and y'all were just like, here you go.
You guys want new content? We just
yeah.
Just a tiny little spoonful of it for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of like par for the course with Bungie's legacy with Destiny overall. I mean, how often have we gotten like peaks and valleys with this? Like, you know,
right.
Destiny 1 year one, like outside of the raid.
Right.
And then Taken King. And then Rise of Iron's complicated. I loved Rise of Iron, but it's not worth $30. It wasn't $30 worth of content, but that raid was so good, and obviously Gun was so iconic for me. Like, I overlook its issues, but like objectively, and then like Destiny 2, and then Forsaken, and then Shadowkin, and then, you know, Beyond Light. No, that was still then back up to Queen, Witch Queen, and then Lightfall, and then now Final Shape. It's just constant with them, and I'm.
That's literally been my relationship with Bungie.
I'm happy to be done.
It has been up and down.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're done with it. You're.
I think this is a great point for me to leave.
Jump in ship before it sinks.
I mean, the sinking has been happening on and off. I want to be landlocked for a while.
That's fair.
So, and who knows? I could be eating these words in a couple years, and Destiny 3 or what have you comes out to rave reviews, and then I might try it if it's really that good. But my going off of history here, my expectations are super low, especially with a big focus on Marathon. They need to make Marathon work as well.
Yeah.
So. If Destiny continues to have a great franchise moving forward, maybe I'll be back. But my current sentiment and outlook is I'm going off on this high point. I'm going to go play Elden Ring finally.
I think the Final Shape's going to be really hard to top. Like, it's going to be really hard to make a content that is this good again, coming from Bungie.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll see what these episodes are about, and then, you know, but I'm not putting a whole bunch of stock into it myself personally. I just want story. I want the story and more of the story. That's what I really enjoy. I mean, there's other aspects of it, obviously, that I like, but that's one of the centerpieces for me, is just how good and how many different directions the story can go from here. But I think overall we can all agree that it was a fantastic DLC. If you've been playing, if you don't have it yet, if you haven't had a chance, hopefully if you're listening to this, then you've already played and you know. Otherwise, you've just been spoiled. Fantastic though. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys again so much for joining us. Allie, please let folks know, where can they find you? Where can they find your content? All that good stuff.
Aleezilla on probably any social media site you can think of. I am Aleezilla everywhere. So
Zuzu, what about you, my friend?
ZukaratheTall, man. ZukaratheTall on Twitch. That's mainly where you're going to see me if I'm not on a random sabbatical. And then I'm also on Twitter and technically YouTube.
Nice.
that'll be up in probably a month.
Nice,
It's a big project.
It's going to be meaty. It's going to be meaty. And of course, you can find me at Smitty2447. Socials, Twitch, Kick, all that good stuff is where I'm at. Don't forget to hit up our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a bunch of other shows, reviews, all kinds of great content that you can find over there. Don't forget to let us know what your thoughts are. If you finished everything, if you rated, if you hated it, if you loved it, we want to hear from you as well. So comment, hit us up on the socials, go check out confreaksandgeeks.com. And with that, we will see you guys in the next episode. This has been the What Do You Think Spoiler Cast.